I want to welcome Meghan Yuhasz to the stage here in just a minute. She's the Director of Google Marketing Solutions in the United States. She leads a sales team at Google whose goal is to help and grow small and medium-sized businesses through Google AdWords, which we have mastered at eWomenNetwork. Meghan joined Google back in 2006 when the company first opens its operations in Ann Arbor, but prior to Google, she worked at a very traditional media company. I think this is going to be a real eye-opener for you. I'm really excited about what you're getting ready to learn. So before we bring her out, please check out the side screens.
It always was my dream to pursue a career in dance. It's the true expression of who I am. I came to the United States when I was 14 from Chile. And I was raised by a single mom. We struggle a lot with money, so I was told, you're gonna go to the real world now, you need to be able to support yourself. How are you gonna make this happen with dance? It was like I needed to leave dance aside and just do it as a hobby. But I wasn't happy. There was something missing in me.
We met in high school, and I've never seen Valentina without dance in her life. One day she just came home and she said, hey, I want to open a studio so I can teach my classes. Do you think we can do it? And I was like, go for it.
Neither of us had owned a business before. We maxed our credit cards. He quit his job and we took a leap of faith. In the early days, many times we only had one student show up to class.
The route is mainly a Spanish-speaking community, and we knew we needed to start advertising in Spanish to reach to our ideal customers. That's when I started advertising with Google. We needed something that scaled and that we could afford.
He would ask me, so if you were looking for dance classes, what would you type? And I would say, clases de ballet, draw.
She asked me, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? People are showing up. After a month, we have 45 new signups. Now we're in our new facility and we have over 200 students.
I can't believe how far we've come from. When they're all in the room and they perform, oh, it's the best feeling in the world. We encourage the girls to feel proud of who they are and where they come from. When I come to the studio every day, it doesn't really feel like work. I'm doing what I want to do, and that's a blessing to me.
I'm so excited to be able to introduce this woman to you. Get ready to buckle up, take notes. This can be a game changer. It's going to build on everything that I'm going to be teaching you from this point forward. Please welcome to the stage, Meghan Yuhasz.
Wasn't that such an incredible, inspiring story? Every time I watch it, it gives me chills. Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to be with you today. As Sandra introduced me, my name's Meghan Yuhasz, and I manage a team at Google that works every single day with small and medium-sized businesses to help grow their businesses through Google's solutions and products, which we'll touch on today. One of the main reasons I love my job is I get to hear stories like the one we heard with Valentina, and I get to see how my team has an impact not just on small businesses, but also on local communities. My team spends a ton of time each year meeting with businesses across the Americas to gather insights from them, to learn about the uniqueness of each business that they talk to, and also to hear their challenges. But most importantly, what I love is we get to bring Google solutions to these businesses and help them grow. Back in 2000, when I was in college, this is what Google looked like. It was just that, a search engine, and only 5% of the world had access to the internet. And that home computing device that was in the corner of the room, does anyone remember? I'm going to go get on the computer right now. And we would go leave the room, get on the computer, and we would go there to do our online research. We would go there to check our email. And for my dad, we would go there to play solitaire. That's where we could find him. Anyone can resonate? The home computer was a destination all on its own. But now let's fast forward to 2018, 18 years later, and we see a totally different picture. Now, 50% of the world has access to the internet. And that home computer device that you went to is now in your back pocket, right? Everybody has one. It's almost like a toothbrush. Everybody has one, except we're using it many more times than twice a day. Can anyone guess how long, with a show of hands or fingers, how long the smartphone has been around? 6, 5, 11 years. 11 years. I saw 10 in the back. If only you had 11 hands or 11 fingers, you would have gotten it. It's hard to believe, but it's truly sparked a revolution in the way we behave. Mobile has changed everything. So I'd love to do a show of hands. Raise your hand if you have a desktop computer at home or a laptop. Okay, keep your hands raised if you also have a tablet, a smartphone, GPS in your car, a home assistant device. I could go on and on and on and on. The world has changed, and connection to the internet is everywhere. The constant connectivity makes these devices more useful. And we love our devices, but what we love more is the power that we get from our devices. The power to get exactly what we want instantaneously and very effortlessly. So let's take a look at this shift in more detail. 8 billion. Today, there are 8 billion devices online. That's more than there are people in this world. But in 2020, in just 2 years, this figure will be closer to 20 billion. And it will be growing by 1 million devices each hour. Now, you may ask, what does this mean to me as a business owner or a marketer? The reason the growth in connectivity is having a drastic impact on us is it's changing the way behaviors or consumers behave. As the number of connected devices grew in these last years, it's becoming gradually more faster and useful. And we're starting to see a profound shift in where people spend their time. A larger portion of people's days are spent now online than offline in the digital world. So let's look. In 2015, we saw that people were spending 5 hours online and about 6.5 hours on other media. By next year, this is again supposed to shift drastically. And what we'll see is that people will be spending more time online than they will across all other medias combined. At Google, one of our key principles has always been to focus on the user and all else will follow. This has been a part of our products that we have created from day one. So we, of course, have been paying very close attention to these shifts in technology and how it's affecting consumer behaviors. And this is what we've discovered. Today's consumer has evolved. We're seeing consumers be more curious, we're seeing them be more demanding, and we're seeing them be more impatient. I'd love for you just to pause and reflect on yourself and people around you. Head nod, yes? Have you become more curious, more demanding, and impatient? Great. Well, we're going to dive into each of these a little bit more. My goal for you today is to understand how these changes in consumers are behaving, and then after that, we'll evolve what you as a business can do to make sure you're evolving with the times. So more curious. We said consumers are becoming more curious. They're becoming more curious because they can instantaneously and easily find almost any answer to any question in just a matter of a few taps. Did you know that 15% of all searches that happen on Google each year are brand new searches that have been never searched before? So it just shows how curious people are becoming and how that's changing each year. Let's face it, how many times have you heard someone say, just Google it? Has anyone said it in their trip so far? I see a show of hands. Totally get it. With such immediate access to information, because we know we can know everything, we must know everything, and we want to know everything. So given the amount of choices consumers have today, every decision has to be an informed one. So let's take a look at a couple of insights that point to this change in behavior. Over the past 2 years, we've seen the searches in best grew over 80%. I resonate with this very well. As I entered Dallas, I think I searched a couple different times: best restaurants, best place to get coffee, best spas, right? I'm sure over the course of the weekend, you will be doing the same. And what we've also seen is that consumers, they want to know and learn more about products before they buy it. So what they're doing is they're going to YouTube, which is also a Google-owned property, and they're reviewing products before they make a purchase. My son, Brady, just turned 6 yesterday, and what he wanted for his birthday was one of those big blow-up water slides, and my husband was like all about to go buy it a week or so ago, and I was really hesitant. I'm like, is it safe? Like, how big is this thing? And what did I do? I literally spent about 35 minutes on YouTube reviewing multiple different products. And then we made a decision to buy one, and the decision was based purely on which one I felt was safest for my 3-year-old and 6-year-old son. Additionally, because we're seeing continuous access to information, we know exactly what's possible and what we can get. So we expect businesses to cater to our unique needs now. And because of that, we're becoming more demanding. Over the past 2 years, we've seen a shift in how consumers are searching for local businesses. In the past, what you would see is typically people would search for things that they wanted to do, and they would include near me, or they would include the zip code or the city. What we're now seeing is actually people are not including those location identifiers, and the reason being is that our expectation is that our mobile device knows where we are and what we want. This is all because consumers know that because mobile devices are able to get them relevant results without needing to know the exact phrase that they're doing. And what we're also seeing through a survey is that 81% of consumers want brands to get to know them and understand how to approach them. These are now the stakes among consumers who are demanding immediate, personal, helpful assistance at the right place in the right time. And finally, because we also know just how quickly we can get our needs met, we are also being more impatient. I feel this as I've grown older. I feel like I'm getting more and more impatient. Right now on the screen, you'll see 2 different searches that we're seeing an increase in trends of searches. The first one is open now, and the second one is wait time. When we dive into these searches more deeply, what we have found is that open now tends to be for 2 specific reasons. One, people are looking for impromptu decisions or trying to make impromptu decisions. And 2, people are searching in emergency situations. When I was putting the slide together, I was reflecting back to July 4th. My daughter, my 3-year-old daughter, was sick on July 4th, and the very first thing I wanted to know is what urgent cares are available, right? And knowing it was July 4th, I knew I wasn't going to get a lot, and so the very second thing I searched is how long are the wait times for the emergency or the urgent care facilities. So this just shows exactly how impatient consumers are coming. People are searching at the exact moment they need something and are looking for places that can give them an immediate need. So to recap, consumers have become more curious, more demanding, and more impatient. These 3 behaviors have led us to understand that today's consumers are more empowered than ever before. These are different consumers than just a few years ago, and the very nature of how they behave and what they expect has changed. And with the immediate growth in connected devices, this empowerment will only deepen more. So now what we're going to transfer to is we're going to take those learnings of what we learned to how consumers are behaving differently, and we're going to talk about what you can as a business do. And along the way, I'll share some of my favorite Google products as well. So as we discussed, the newly empowered consumer is expecting immediate, personal, helpful assistance at the right place and the right time. We're living in an age that we're calling is the age of assistance. The idea of helpfulness of assistance is the next logical step for businesses to take because we want consumers to help them, we want businesses to have everything they need to help consumers in those moments of time. We want to bring consumers utility. The good news is that we now have more opportunities than ever before to connect with our consumers, to tell them something they want to hear, to help them find what they're looking for, to literally assist them along the way. And while I'm talking to you today, your consumer may be getting to know a new product or service while watching a video on YouTube. They may be also browsing sites online to gain more information. Or they may be finding directions to the nearest store. These are just a couple examples of the chances you have to connect with consumers and influence them. A recent study showed that 64% of businesses knew that they needed to be present on the mobile searches. But when we dug in deeper, what we found is only 45% of those businesses were mobile optimized. As leaders in your industry, it's really important for you to take a step forward to deliver truly assistive experiences to your consumers, not only at the purchase of the time, but again, all along the journey, just as I described my purchase of the water slide for my son's birthday. Every day, consumers are now turning to their devices to know, to do, to go, and to buy. It's crucial that as business owners, we understand those key moments of intent and are there for our customers. So what's the recipe for success? What does it mean to be successful in the age of assistance? There are 3 key principles. First, it's important to be there for your consumers throughout the entire journey, not just at that moment of purchase. The second principle is to be valuable by offering meaningful experiences to your customers. And the third is to be quick by delivering on consumer needs in real time. It's truly incredible to see what's possible today. The same technology that has reshaped our modern world is ready to help you create meaningful moments to the people at the center. Moments that aren't necessarily a business message that are interrupting the consumer, but more of a service to help them see what they're looking for. So let's take a look at these key principles and some Google products, some of my favorite Google products that can help support you along the way. Be there. So we talked about the importance of being there for customers throughout the entire journey. Consumers are constantly exploring the digital universe. It's important to be able to reach them at multiple different touch points, ensure that each of those are valuable moments. Let's look at Noosa, which is a yogurt company based in Colorado. This company, you guys know them well, and/or you're from Colorado. So Noosa started, for those of you that don't know, Noosa started just selling their yogurt in farmers markets. But what they really learned to do is leverage both Google AdWords and YouTube in order to really be able to reach their target market at the right time. And what they saw from that is they saw their sales in 2014 nearly triple, and they were able to quadruple their employee force to 250 customers, all while still sourcing from local farmers in Colorado. So I want to take a minute to show a little bit more about the products, the Google products they use to help them get there. The first one is YouTube. YouTube is the #1 video site for influencing purchase decisions. Did you know that it has over 1.8 billion monthly visitors logged into their site? And each hour, people are watching 1 billion hours of video content. YouTube can help you reach your customers at the right point in time. And again, not just at that purchase standpoint, but as they are trying to discover more about your product or service. Google has an opportunity to reach your right target audience, and they have a lot of different ways of doing that. So you could run a 6-second bumper ad, for example. You could run a 45-second skippable video. And you may ask yourself, how can I get my message across in 6 seconds? Or can I do that? We did a research, and the fact is you can do that. 9 out of 10 people will recall your video after just a 6-second ad. So this is an example on the screen of a couple of the different videos and ads that Noosa did. What they did is they just did one specific ad for each of their different flavors. So you can see on the far left, they had their coconut brand, I believe it was, and in the middle, their lime brand, and then on the far right, their strawberry brand. And I want to take a second to show an example of the ad that they created and ran. So very simple, but very catchy, right? And again, they did this for each of their different flavors. But you may say, and my team again works with small and medium-sized businesses every day, and what we heard from them is that many of them didn't have video content. And if they did have video content, honestly, the quality was very, very low. So what Google did is came out with a program called YouTube Director On-Site, which is what they do is they send a filmmaker directly to you, and they help you write your script. They help film the video, and they help edit the video. And they do this all for free. I told you I would share some free products. This is a great example of one. Now, you do have to commit to a $350 ad spend on YouTube as a result of this, but this is an incredible resource that we are offering companies to help them create that impactful video ad content and high-quality ad content. So let's show an example of, oops, sorry, I'm going to go back a little too fast on the clicker. Okay, I'm going to show you a little bit more about how easy YouTube On-Site Director works.
At Legends Car Rentals, we have cars that you need to see to believe.
Say with the sock is the Sock of the Month Club, where we send a surprise pair of socks to people around the world.
We knew we needed a video ad to keep up with everybody. We didn't know where to start. We rent cars. I don't know about videos.
We were contacted by a YouTube account representative, and they said that they wanted to produce a video for us, and asked them how much it cost, and they said it's just a commitment to spending on Google AdWords.
The YouTube director called us before she came out, gave us some very important suggestions.
Our director was amazing. She helped us set everything up, and then we kind of just went into shooting. She made it like super playful.
It was simple. We were done in a couple hours. By the end of the next week, the video was out. I saw it. The production was great.
Once we finished the video, we had a lot of support from Google.
A YouTube ad specialist really worked with us to determine who our target audience was and make sure that the video was seen by the right people.
The ad captured what Legends was about. It captured the culture, what the customer wants to feel. It was terrific.
I would definitely recommend YouTube Director On-Site.
Great, so pretty simple, and we'll share a handout at the end outside there if you have more questions on how to sign up for these things. But pretty simple, and the businesses I've worked with afterwards have been really appreciative and amazed by how simple the process has been, because I think creating video can be overwhelming to a lot of businesses. So the next Google product or Google solution I'd love to talk to you about is search and shopping. This is one that my team works with customers all the time in helping them leverage. It's found through Google AdWords. And essentially, the message I want to get across here is it allows your product to be sent to your customer at the right place and the right time. And more importantly, what you can get from Google Search and Google Shopping is an opportunity to not just get your customer at that point of purchase, but get them all along that journey while they're searching. They may be researching very, very early stages if you have a long business cycle, or wanting to know how you compare to others. There is another product called remarketing that we offer as part of search, which also allows you to retarget your ads along that consumer journey so that you can remind customer, hey, you bought a purchase from me, you may want to rebuy, or hey, you were considering this, you might want to rethink about it again. So there's a lot of different opportunities and ways to customize what you need and get out of search and shopping. The next Google solution I want to tell you about is Google My Business. which helps you be there in moments of need. Google My Business helps create connections using both search and maps to provide key information about your business, like reviews, store hours, and directions on how to get there. It also provides you an opportunity to engage with potential customers and promote your business or share something that might be interesting going on in your business. Be valuable is the next principle I want to take some time to tell you about. In order to be valuable to your customers, you must first know what your customers' needs, and Google offers insights to help you understand that. Let's take an example of Carousel Designs. This company used Google Analytics to really understand how their users and customers were spending time on their site. And what they found was a valuable way to add more value to their consumers was to apply this drag and drop method on their website. And by doing that, and by using Google AdWords, they were able to 20-fold their business, which is pretty amazing. So Google offers 2 different free tools to help you understand consumer behavior specifically to your business. So I want to spend some time going through what those 2 products are. The first one is Google Analytics. Google Analytics gives you more information about your demographics, so it can tell you what age, what gender are viewing your website, which can give you more insights into things to potentially offer for your consumers. It also gives you more insight into how people are behaving on your website. For example, it can tell you where people came before they were at your before they got to your website. So for example, potentially they clicked on an ad, or potentially they found you on Facebook, or potentially they found you on a search. This is all insightful information. They can actually show you how the consumer navigated through your site, and most importantly, they can show where the consumer left where the consumer left your site. This can give you a ton of information. Perhaps there's something very confusing or overwhelming to a consumer when they get to that page that they're dropping off. It allows you to get more insights into potentially changing that part of your website. Next, I'll tell you about Google Trends, which is my favorite Google product. Another free product. What this allows you to do is provide quick and useful insights on what people are searching for on your website. So I'll give you an example of when I used this recently. My uncle owns a small retail store. He doesn't have any online presence. And we were talking about when he starts to bring out his Halloween merchandise. And he was telling me he brings it out on October 1st, which is almost a month before Halloween. And I was like, I'd worked with a couple of Halloween customers before, and I'm like, it just seems too late. So what we did is on his phone, we picked up Google Trends, and we started to look at when in the year people were actually starting to search for Halloween products. And when was it? Not October, not September. It was actually in August that people were starting to do it. So what that allowed him to do is actually bring out his merchandise and that part of his products much earlier. So you can just show how exactly, I use this actually as fun facts when I'm just hanging out with friends and like you're trying to figure out interesting things. So I highly recommend you use it. It's good for Jeopardy as well. But another customer example I'll give you that we used when we used Google Trends. So I was working with a startup company in New York. It was a transportation company, and they had just received a round of funding. Their business was only in New York, and what they were trying to figure out is where to expand their business next. They had some hypotheses, but they didn't have much data to really help provide the right answer to that. And so what we looked at is we used Google Trends to see where in the US people were searching for their product and service. And what we found is 2 new locations, Boston and Florida. And more interesting is previously in New York, this customer was just targeting commuters and college students. Once we dove into the data and looked at the data, we found Florida, as I mentioned, but we also found a whole new customer base, which is elderly people. And so this company came out with an entire new service that they're now offering specifically in Florida based on this insights and data. So really, really powerful stuff. And essentially what these are doing, these are insights to help you be more valuable and help you differentiate your business from your competitors. The last area I want to tell you about is being quick. We talked about how the consumer today is impatient, right? And so their expectations about a quick, frictionless, and seamless experience is very, very important. People, think about your own self and when you're searching. If things aren't happening instantly, are you going to sit there and wait for things to load? Probably not. And so as my team worked with a lot of small and medium-sized businesses, what we found is they actually weren't putting themselves in their customer's shoes and seeing the experience on a mobile device. And so Google came out with a program, essentially, an initiative called testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com. And I'd love to do an exercise with all of you today. So if you don't mind, can you pull out your mobile devices? I see a lot of you guys writing, which is great. I hope you're learning a ton. But pull up your mobile device, and I'd love for you to test your URL into your thing, into the screen. Sorry, the website's right up there, which is testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com. And if I could have a couple brave souls on stage to share their results. What this will show you is what the experience is like for the consumer as they go to their site. Any brave souls? Awesome, 1 and 2, thank you. It does take a minute for it to come through, so just be patient, it should be showing at the bottom. Hi. I'm Megan, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Hi, nice to meet you, Tracy. Perfect. Yep, just hit that. This is your website, right?
Yep.
Here, why don't you do it on mine? Perfect, yep. Okay, try it on my phone. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, great. So we have a couple of businesses, brave business owners up here to put themselves out here. So is everyone still searching? Are we still in the middle? Yeah, still searching. Okay, it does take a little bit of time, but let me tell you what it's going to show you. It's going to show you insights about, again, the mobile experience that your customer goes through. How fast is your site? And more importantly, it's going to give you tips that you or your webmaster can do to speed up that. So you'll get results that'll show your speed is good, bad, poor, etc. And what it'll also do is give you a free report at the bottom that you can email to yourself or your webmaster to figure out how to make that experience for your customers and users more frictionless. So I'd love to just, if you guys are comfortable, go down the line, just share what your business is, and if there's any insights you quickly learned from this.
Yeah. Do we get the free report?
You can go here and go. It'll give you insights really quickly.
So my business is coaching, women's coaching, and the loading time on 3G is 7 seconds, which is fair, and 26% estimated visitor loss due to loading time.
Yep. And if you scanned the right, you'll actually see a little bit more insight. So it'll show you how you compare in your industry to others.
Wow.
So it gives you that industry and your competitor comparison. And then it'll show you only a few fixes could actually reduce 3 seconds, which would take you from 7 to 3. And then at the bottom, it'll show you get my free free report. And again, you can send it to yourself if you are in control of your website, or just send it to your webmaster. And for every, after we see if something takes more than 2 to 3 seconds, that's typically when you will start to see customers just leave your site in general and not go to it. Okay, next.
I'm going to need a pass because mine is not loaded yet.
Oh, okay.
You'll get there, hopefully.
Hi, I'm Tracy Frank, Creative Director, Brand Designer at Frank House Design. And mine is actually poor. 12 seconds load time, 31% estimated visitors lost. Compared to my industry, top performers are usually at good at 3.9 seconds. So my fixes could reduce my loading time by 3 seconds. So, and I know that I have some large images on my site that I need to optimize.
Yeah. And so what it'll tell you, the report's actually pretty amazing. It'll tell you exactly what images to compress and how to compress it. And again, if you can't do a lot of this stuff, your webmaster can typically do this stuff pretty easily as well.
Hi there. So I'm Debbie Lichter, and the website that I was looking up was my Free from Food Addiction website. So I help women get free from food addiction and obsession. And I also was fair, 7-second loading time, and it said 26% estimated visitor loss. So I think it was the same, that I can reduce it to 3 seconds. Is that what I see here?
Next slide will show you, 3 seconds as well.
Okay, great. And so what does the free report allow you to see?
So it'll go into more details of what you need to fix and how you can go about fixing it.
Got it.
Hi, my name is Melinda Kirk. I have a company called ilovepetcakes.com, a website and Facebook, and I am poor on 16S loading time, 16 seconds loading time on 3G, 33% estimated visitor loss due to loading time. So I know I have some work to do, but I'm ready.
And I'm Ashley. My mother and I own a fire and water damage restoration company. And the sad thing is someone did our website for us, and our load time is 13 seconds. An approximate 31% visitors lost. The average industry comparison is 3.9 seconds. And we could get it to 3 seconds with some fixes.
Thanks for sharing. Yes, thank you. So thank you guys. Big round of applause for the brave souls that came up here and put themselves out here. So the goal of this wasn't to make any of you feel bad. The goal was to really help you understand what it's like to put yourself in the customer's shoes and when they could be potentially leaving your business or leaving your opportunity. There's two big, I want to reinforce, there's two big parts that go into the speed of your website. The first is your website connection, and the second are, again, the elements of your website, which are things you can control. So highly recommend you get the free report, and hope it helps a lot of your businesses. So now is the time to act. You know your customers better than anyone else. Now you have the opportunity to engage with them and delight them in much more meaningful ways than ever before. We are at an amazing time of history of business and technology, and this is why I believe that now is truly time to be now is truly the most fascinating time to be a business owner. Thank you guys for your time, and if you have any questions, both myself and my colleague Ricky will be right outside the doors. Please feel free to come meet us afterwards. Thank you.